Can someone really go from sleeping in homeless shelters to becoming a billionaire? Some of the world's richest people didn't start with money, they started with nothing. Homeless, broke, working 3 jobs just to survive. But through grit, vision, and refusing to give up, they built empires worth billions. These are 5 of the most insane rags to riches stories ever told, and the transformation is absolutely unbelievable. First up is Jan Koum, the co-founder of WhatsApp, worth $15.2 billion today. But his story starts in Ukraine. Jan was born in a small village outside Kiev. His family lived in poverty. No running water, no electricity, just survival. When Jan was 16, his mother brought him to California. They had nothing. They lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment and survived on government assistance. His mother worked as a babysitter. Jan swept floors at a grocery store. Money was so tight that Jan would stand in line at the welfare office to collect food stamps. He hated it, but it motivated him. Jan taught himself computer programming by buying used manuals from a bookstore. He studied relentlessly, and in 1997, he got a job at Yahoo as an infrastructure engineer. For the first time in his life, he had stability, but Jan wanted more. In 2009, he and his friend Brian Acton co-founded WhatsApp. The idea was simple, a messaging app that was fast, reliable, and ad-free. For years, WhatsApp struggled. They had no revenue model. No investors wanted to fund them, but Jan refused to give up. Then in 2014, Facebook came calling. Mark Zuckerberg offered to buy WhatsApp for $19 billion. Jan accepted. Jan Koum went from collecting welfare checks to signing a $19 billion deal, and he signed the paperwork on the door of the welfare office where he used to wait in line. Full circle, from broke to billionaire. At number 4, Oprah Winfrey, net worth $3 billion, one of the most powerful women in the world. But Oprah's childhood was brutal. She was born in rural Mississippi in 1954 to a single teenage mother. They were so poor that Oprah wore dresses made from potato sacks. She was mocked at school for it. Her home life was even worse. Oprah suffered abuse. She was molested by family members. At 14, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son who died shortly after. But Oprah refused to let her circumstances define her. She discovered a love for public speaking in high school. She entered a speech contest and won a scholarship to Tennessee State University. While in college, Oprah started working in radio. Her talent for connecting with people was undeniable. By 19, she became the youngest news anchor in Nashville. In 1984, she moved to Chicago to host a struggling morning talk show. Within months, it became the highest-rated talk show in the city. 2 years later, it went national as The Oprah Winfrey Show. But here's the genius move. Oprah retained ownership. Most hosts would have sold the rights to a network, but not Oprah. She owned her show. She controlled the content, and she built an empire. The Oprah Winfrey Show ran for 25 years. It became the highest-rated daytime talk show in American television history. Oprah launched OWN, her own network. She invested in Weight Watchers. She became a media mogul. And today, Oprah is worth $3 billion. She went from wearing potato sack to owning a media empire. And her story proves that your past doesn't determine your future. At number 3, Shahid Khan, net worth $12.1 billion, owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Fulham Football Club. Shahid was born in Pakistan. His family was middle class, but when he moved to America at 16, he had nothing. He arrived in Illinois with $500 in his pocket. That's it. To pay for college, Shahid worked as a dishwasher at a local restaurant. He made $1.20 an hour. He lived in a small apartment with 3 other students. Money was always tight, but Shahid had ambition. He studied engineering at the University of Illinois. After graduating, he got a job at an auto parts company called Flex and Gate. Shahid worked his way up. He learned the business inside and out. And then in 1978, he took a massive risk. He bought the company. At the time, Flex and Gate was struggling. Shahid invested everything he had. He worked 16-hour days. He redesigned products. He cut costs. And slowly, the company turned around. Flex and Gate became one of the largest auto parts suppliers in North America. It supplies bumpers and other components to major car manufacturers like Ford, GM, and Toyota. By the 2000s, Shahid was a billionaire, but he didn't stop there. In 2012, he bought the Jacksonville Jaguars for $770 million. A year later, he bought the Fulham Football Club in London. Today, Shahid Khan is worth $12.1 billion. He went from washing dishes for $1.20 an hour to owning 2 professional sports teams. His story is proof that hard work and strategic risk-taking can change everything. At number 2, Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, net worth $193 billion. One of the richest people on earth, Larry was born in 1944 in New York City. His mother was an unwed teenager who gave him up for adoption. Larry was raised by his aunt and uncle in a poor neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. Money was always an issue. Larry's uncle worked as a government clerk. They lived paycheck to paycheck, and there was no safety net. Larry struggled in school. He dropped out of the University of Illinois after his second year when his adoptive mother died. He moved to California with no plan and no money. For years, Larry drifted. He worked odd jobs, computer programming, small tech contracts, but nothing stuck. Then, in 1977, Larry and two friends co-founded a company called Software Development Laboratories. Their goal? Build a relational database management system. At the time, relational databases were a new concept. Most companies didn't even understand them. Larry struggled to get funding. He struggled to find clients. The company was on the verge of collapse multiple times. But Larry refused to quit. He believed in the technology, and in 1979, Oracle released its first commercial database. It worked, and it was revolutionary. Oracle became the go-to database for corporations around the world. IBM, Microsoft, Amazon, they all needed Oracle's technology. Larry scaled the company aggressively. By the 1990s, Oracle was worth billions, and Larry became one of the richest men in the world. Today, Larry Ellison is worth $193 billion. He went from living paycheck to paycheck to briefly overtaking Elon Musk as the richest person on Earth in 2025. His story is proof that persistence, vision, and betting on yourself can pay off beyond imagination. And finally, at number 1 is Do-Won Chang, co-founder of Forever 21, net worth $5 billion. Do-Won was born in South Korea. In 1981, he and his wife Jin-Suk immigrated to the United States. They had nothing, no English, no money, no connections. Just to survive, Do-Won worked 3 jobs at once. He was a janitor. He worked at a gas station. He worked at a coffee shop. He slept 4 hours a night. Every day was a grind. But while working at the gas station, Do-Won noticed something. The customers who drove the nicest cars owned clothing stores. He saw an opportunity. In 1984, Do-Won and Jin-Suk saved up enough money to open a small 900-square-foot store in Los Angeles. They called it Fashion 21. It sold trendy clothes at low prices, and the store was an instant hit. Young people loved the fast fashion concept, affordable, stylish clothing that changed every week. Do-Won and Jin-Suk reinvested every dollar they made. They opened more stores. They expanded across California. By the 1990s, they rebranded to Forever 21 and went national. Forever 21 became one of the largest fast fashion retailers in the world. At its peak, the company had over 800 stores globally and generated $4.4 billion in annual revenue. Do-Won went from working as a janitor to building a multi-billion-dollar fashion empire. He proved that immigrants with nothing but a dream and a relentless work ethic can achieve the impossible. Today, Do-Won Chang is worth $5 billion, from 3 jobs to a global empire. These stories aren't just inspiring, they are proof that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. From Yan Koum signing a $19 billion deal at a welfare office to Do-Won Chang going from janitor to billionaire, these people rewrote their lives. If you loved these rags to riches stories, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're breaking down the most insane, most inspiring, and most unbelievable success stories on the planet. Drop a comment below. Which story inspired you the most? See you in the next one.